Hi, my name is Denise and welcome to my channel. Today's video is how I study in college, and I'm going to break this down into 3 categories. So I have everything written down in my phone because I don't want to forget anything, and I hope that I will be able to fully explain why everything is important and why I use all of these. So for this category, we'll be talking about the gadgets I use, how I use them, and the apps that make my life so much easier, effective, and efficient for school. My laptop is my anything and everything. This is my complete workspace where I become most effective because it has everything that I need. I do not need to shift around into different gadgets or different sources because it can carry everything that will be useful for me for school. Okay, so this is pretty much what my setup looks all the time. My reference is always on the right and the document on the left. I always split the screen, and this is how I find it most effective to work, and you can switch through the desktops if you have more than one. Often I open up Google if I have questions, Facebook when I talk to my friends for questions or collaborating, YouTube if I need more sources other than a book or journals. Then on the next screen we have my Gdocs where I keep most of my notes for school. Then here to the right I have the USD Blackboard, which is just how my university works specifically. Then here I have Canva where I create most of my projects and artworks, which I highly recommend, by the way. Anything that I need for school, pretty much I can get it done with my laptop. The next important thing I use is my iPad. This is the iPad Pro, the old one, because it still has the home button and the old pencil that doesn't stick. My iPad is pretty much my on-the-go. This is what I take with me to school because sometimes it's not necessarily safe to be carrying around a big laptop all the time, especially if you commute or you walk outside of your campus. Everything can pretty much be carried in your iPad, from books, notes, PowerPoint presentations, worksheets, documents, handouts, and even your planner. You can also split the screen, so if you are in a lecture, you can open up your book on one side to highlight and type notes on the other. You can also be writing down notes and open up your reference into a small tab on one side and guide you throughout the lecture. You don't have to be carrying around heavy books all the time, especially if you are in a science-based course. I understand that most of our textbooks are expensive or heavy and are thick. Here we'll be talking about Notability and GoodNotes. I had to pay for both of these, and honestly, they are quite similar, so having one is more than enough. It is useful to write down notes as if it's on paper, and that's also good for the environment. You can also upload your PowerPoint presentations, handouts, or reviewers from your professors, then highlight or add notes on them. You can customize your type of pen or type of highlighter and change around the colors as well. As much as possible, I do not print anything anymore because I have all of it in here, and this serves as your file folder and your notebooks as well. I also make use of this as my personal planner wherein I customize the pages. I have one spread for an overall month, and the next would be for the entire week and a necessary to-do list if I need it that week. I have professors that give out their PowerPoints, so I upload the PowerPoints into Notability and I'm able to write on the PowerPoint document itself. So I can customize it into my own understanding, and then I can highlight the important parts, create side notes, write on it. Anything that I need to do on the PowerPoint, I can do it in Notability. Next is pretty much my phone. Here I have every application that I use for both my iPad and my laptop. This is especially important for me because I have duty twice a week in the hospital. So sometimes I have cases wherein I know I covered this at school and I know I made notes on this in my lectures. I can always access it through my phone in my Gdocs application and scroll through it. So this way, it makes it effective for me to find everything I learned and make use of it, you know. Okay, so the next category we'll be talking about is how I take notes. First, I want to tackle why it's important. So if you are somebody that's quite used to writing all of your notes, I think you should quite consider the fact that sometimes it's not always efficient to write notes because you can't always access your paper notes all the time. We are in a world that technology is always available anytime, therefore make use of it. If you're on the go, you can always review and study because you can't always carry your notes around. I know you can tell me that you're able to retain it more if you write it, but then sometimes it can be in your short-term memory that you can remember it until the exam day, but you won't remember it within a year from now. And then later on, you can't find your notebook anymore. So, good luck na lang, diba? How I do notes specifically. So, I will usually start with the title of the topic. Then each important subheading would be in all caps as well. This is mainly how I categorize, so this can be similar as how a book would be created. Then underneath that, I create a bullet for each information. If you click on enter and click on the tabs, it would indent into another bullet, and this is usually how it would create a supporting detail under that main information from the first bullet I created. Other than the subheadings, we would tackle important concepts or theories that should be remembered, and I follow a similar framework for the information underneath all of that. Now, after I take notes from the first lecture, I would use these headers and update them. Normally, I'd use bold and underline for my topic, bold for subheading, and bold and italic for concepts, but this can be completely up to you. Now, the important thing of doing this is that the following information can automatically be updated if you do Command, Option, and the corresponding number of that heading. This way, you don't have to manually do it all the time. Normally, I would reach 100 plus pages of notes, so I would need a table of contents to navigate around my notes. And this is based around the 3 headings we have made earlier, and thanks to the hyperlink, it would transport me directly to the topic that I need. So yeah, that's pretty much the basic way on how I create a framework for my notes, and usually I would add tables, pictures, or charts to enhance it further and allow me to review even more. The last category we'll be tackling are tips. The first tip is quite known, quite popular. Write what's only important. But let's modify this. Write what you hear and what you see. I read what's on the board. Sometimes I type exactly what's on the PowerPoint, but I listen to my professor at the same time. So this way, I'm able to type what I understood in my own words. What she said, what I saw, I was able to create a concrete line of thought, and I was able to translate it into words and therefore keep it for a long time. And when I review it, I'm going to be able to say, yeah, I know this, I remember she said this, I remember it was in this slide, and you will be able to remember the ideas and concepts that could link with it. Another tip for me is that notes are always effective when you make it yourself. I often find it hard to understand somebody else's reviewer because it wasn't exactly my train of thought, it wasn't how I understood the lecture. It's sometimes quite difficult to be able to rely on somebody else's notes, therefore I highly suggest creating your own. Sometimes it's okay to ask for help, but when you fix your own notes, your mind is in progress, your mind is working, your mind is exercising. So this way, when you are fixing your notes, when you are retyping, when you are organizing, you are thinking about it. Unconsciously, you are forming a concrete overall framework of how your notes would look like. Therefore, you would remember it yourself. Next is type now, edit later, so that I am able to grasp everything that is being said. Obviously, if you were listening, you would understand how it went, how the flow began. So you would be able to fix it and organize it later. This way, you're not missing out on anything. One of the important things about typing your notes and editing later is edit as soon as you can. Once you get home, as much as possible, try to edit it already because you might forget, because sometimes you can lose that train of thought after a few days. So it's better to have it fresh and your mind is still working. Your mind still understands the concept completely because you just had it within the day. My tip would be write only when it's absolutely necessary. So this is when I rewrite my notes when I don't understand the topic and I need to see it, I need to write it. Find a better perspective when you write it yourself. It is so important to go all out with your quizzes pa lang. Go all out. Do not save it for your finals because when you focus on quizzes, that's only on about 1 to 3 topics at most. But your finals would be focusing on about 12 topics, so that you're gonna go insane if suddenly you go all out trying to understand 12 topics at the same time. So when you have the opportunity, focus on those 3 topics during your quiz because individually you studied them thoroughly, you studied them completely and whole round. When you have a question, search it instantly. If you have a question in your notes or something that you can't remember from a past lecture, go back. When you see it, learn about it. Don't say, I'll just learn it again later, because you will forget and then you end up in your exam and you're like, shit, I forgot to read on this because I saw it there but I forgot what it meant. Sometimes I hyperlink that topic, so it's gonna be easier now. When I forget about it again, I can click on it, it can transport me into that document and find it within that document again. Okay, so I think that is it for this video. I hope I was quite clear with everything I was trying to explain, but I hope this was quite informative, and I hope you guys try some of the tips that I shared with you guys, the studying habits that I do, because it changed my life, and I hope it will change yours too. So thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!